I just didn't want to blow your ears
What
out.
are we all laughing at again?
I think it was Tristan.
Tristan,
I had no
I
idea
missed,
what to do.
Tristan, I missed the fist bump. I missed the fist bump. That's my favorite of yours.
What was that?
I just didn't want
Have
to
you
blow your
ever
ears
been
out.
in a match with Tristan before? He
It
does
was
that
like this.
every
It was like
time.
that. It was like three. Like his thumb. It was like, yo.
Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing.
Hello and welcome everybody. I'm your guest host for the day, Hunter, the calculator Frieza, and bring you more cinema-related content here on the League of Cinephiles. Today is a 4-person CINEMAWARS competition filled with past winners only. These are the best of the best, the cream of the crop. It's the end of season 1, and this is part of the MoviaMania series that will eventually crown an overall champion. The rules today? Pretty simple, but first, before I get into that, let's bring in the people that are helping me on this competition. We have Luke. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I'm ready to vote Helmer out.
Oh, wow. We already got some
I'm
lines.
joking. I'm unbiased. I'm completely unbiased.
All right. Well, this might come up later in the show. And also to help judge it with me is Tyler. Bad News. Banark, how are you doing
Good
today?
evening, gentlemen. I'm doing great today.
We have a very, very star-studded lineup here on the CINEMAWARS competition. We have a past champion in everybody. We got Unyolo. We got MovieFest UK. We've got Alex, the host, Helmer. He likes to call himself, and Tristan here. What are you looking for today? You know, all these past winners, all these great competitors. Who do you think has the edge going into this one?
I mean, I think it's wrong to bet against Unyolo. He just seems to win every single time.
Yeah, you pull the stat card here. You know, he's got a lot of CINEMAWARS wins. He's easily the winner, we all know, overall. He's leading the season 1 leaderboard, so he comes in here the heavy odd favorite. So who knows? All right, the rules today will be pretty simple. No elimination today, though. Everybody will compete for all 5 questions. They will get a minute to prep once the question goes up, and they will debate fresh. They don't know these questions beforehand, so they got to rely on their instincts and their debate skills to win today. So let's bring in our competitors here. You know him as the host of the show. He's looking to get his second CINEMAWARS win. That is Alex Helmer. How you doing today?
Pretty good. Great to be, among past champions, competitors that are as good as I am at CINEMAWARS,
Okay.
So it'll be a fun time, hoping for the win, but as long as Unyolo loses, I'll have a nice day.
Well, let's see what he has to say.
Oh,
about
already
that.
firing shots, I see.
All the way from Portugal. It's our current champion and leaderboard leader, Unyolo. How's it going?
You just insulted us all, saying we're as good as him. Jesus Christ.
Former champion.
Come on. I was really surprised when I saw your name on this, to be honest.
Oh.
It happened. I won.
All right.
No one remembers.
I do.
Thank you.
All right, let's keep the international roster going on. It is MovieFest UK. How's it going today?
Yo, it's going great, man. You're doing great with this hosting already. I'm starting to think we're going to have to outvote Alex and see who's going to take over for future host.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Big J, you're literally like the bitchiest motherfucker I know.
Let's bring in our 4th competitor all the way from Canada. We got America, Portugal, UK, and now Canada in here. It's Tristan French. How are you going?
Hey.
How you doing?
Happy to be here. Happy to be fighting against 2 of the best of all time. And Alex.
Oh my God. Let's get this going, Hunter. I'm ready.
Let me just reorganize this.
I'm ready. Let's go.
If you haven't already, please like the video and hit the subscribe button to get more cinema-related content. So let's get on with the show. Your first question here. Who is the best Chris between Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, and Chris Pratt? Who is the best Chris? They have been talked about all the time. Tristan, what's your good answer?
I'm going Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
I can't see
Chris Hemsworth.
Hey, we got some diversity here in the picks. Alex, what do you got going?
I'm so excited for this round because I also picked Chris Hemsworth.
Oh.
All right, MovieFest, we got to team up here.
I'm worried now.
Well, yeah, I've gone for Chris Evans just for simply I think he's got so much more range. If you look from even his performance on Knives Out, he was brilliant in Knives Out. I absolutely loved him. He had that comedic sensibility, but then he also came across serious when he needed to. And then there's also another film called The Gifted. I don't know if you've seen that, but that is a must see, man. And that just shows how much range he has when it comes to emotional tendencies. Let's not forget Captain America. Everyone loves him as Gramps. Do you know what I mean? He is just absolutely incredible. And then there's also Defending Jacob, which is also another brilliant series, which he's just fucking incredible, man. And yeah, even Chris Hemsworth, when you look at his filmography, he's more of a action kind of star, whereas I think Evans has got it all.
And just to jump off that, because I'm also doing Chris Evans. Chris Evans is the only one of them who I believe actually directs as well. He did a film called Before We Go, which is pretty good. Like MovieFest said, he's got a lot of range compared to a lot of these other ones who really operate within a specific genre. Captain America is a character who was beloved before the MCU, but I think that Chris Evans took that character to a whole new level and really gave him a lot of depth. I've seen Defending Jacob. That's a really difficult performance.
The thing is, like with Chris Evans, and you talk like Captain America, but he's like the same character in all the movies. There's an arc there. It's always the same character. Like what Chris Hemsworth did with Thor, just talking about the MCU, is just amazing. He went from like this serious kind of North god, and then he became kind of a more jokey thing. When you see Thor Ragnarok, is just hilarious. Like if you see Ghostbusters, he alone saves that movie. Whatever movie he's in is always one of the best things in that movie. And like Chris Evans, if we look in a lot, like you guys are cherry picking the best movies that he has, but there's a lot of crap that Chris Evans was in. And like looking at Chris Hemsworth, probably Men in Black is the only movie that you can say is literally an awful movie. Rush is just one of the best performances of any of the Chris's out there that we got to choose. So I think Chris Hemsworth deserves that credit of being the best one.
You were saying how Chris Hemsworth went from being this beautiful guy to being an even more beautiful guy. Like Chris Evans went from fucking Johnny Blaze, Fantastic Four, everyone fucking hated him for that awful performance, to being one of the most loved Marvel fucking characters.
I wholeheartly disagree. The entire basis of your argument was that, Chris Evans has more range than Chris Hemsworth does. That's just completely false. I mean, one of the great movies that one of the great performances that Hemsworth put on was in Bad Times at the Royale, which is completely different than any performance by far that Chris Evans does. And I'm not like, it's not even close. By such a big margin, it's not even close. And when you're talking about separating yourself from the MCU, I think that's really important when it comes to this stuff, because that really shows like where your acting chops are. And Chris Evans, as much as I love him, because I do love him, I was close to picking him, but in Knives Out, there were moments where I still saw Captain America, and even I'd say same with Snowpiercer. With Chris Hemsworth, I'm always like I really, at this point, I don't even see him as Thor anymore. I actually see him as the guy from Rush, because in Rush, he's just absolutely phenomenal in that film. And also comedic chops, like Unyolo said, the 2015 Vacation, which isn't, it's far from a masterpiece. His one scene in that movie is funnier than anything else really in that film. Cabin in the Woods as well. He's great in that.
Yeah, amazing.
Well. That's actually.
I mean, and also in the Thor, I would say his performance as Thor is also better than Chris Evans' performance as Captain America. So that's where I'm going to leave off here.
And if you see his arc as Thor, like Fat Thor, no other actor like him would probably have the guts to do what he did, the way he did it.
I think with Captain America, what Alex was saying about you struggle to sometimes see him as anything but Captain America, that shows how much of an impact, I guess, is that character he made. Do you know what I mean? Because you literally see him as Captain America. You could not, in your possibility.
That's like saying Mark Hamill is a great actor because you can't separate him from Luke Skywalker.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though, because that's not what I'm saying, though. Oh, now I've lost my train of thought, you shit fuck.
Sabotage.
I think the thing with Chris Evans and Captain America and his performance as that character is like in Endgame, during that final scene where he leaves, I feel like everyone felt an emotional attachment to him. Everyone who was watching that movie really empathized with his character and like I don't really see the same argument being made about Thor. I've actually seen quite a few, but like I've seen quite a few arguments. Like Unyolo brought up about Thor and the depression arc, and I've seen a few articles saying that like the way he actually portrays depression is very comedic, and he doesn't really give it a lot of depth, and I kind of agree with that. I think that he kind of plays it off for laughs.
If we're talking about an MCU movie, okay, and being able to, in the middle of a movie that big, talk about depression and like go into it like he did, like getting overweight.
But they can
like
do that.
that.
They can
And
do.
then
Look at
also
WandaVision. Look at WandaVision and
Tristan,
Winter
you
Soldier.
guys are talking about.
Yeah, exactly. WandaVision had like 9 episodes or to do that, and he does it in a bit of a movie, and he does it really well, and he's able to go there. If he was any other actor, he would probably be very like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is gonna work. But if you see like the discussions, he was one of the people that really pushed for being Fat Thor and not giving that up. And I think that's like something that shows a lot of guts on his part.
Yeah.
All right, put in your scores here, judges. What we got to give people.
1 to 10, right?
Out of 10, 1 through 10 score. So let's start with Tristan. Tyler, what do you got for Tristan? How about that?
I gave Tristan a 6.
Tristan gets a 6.
You made a valid argument for Chris Evans, but I feel like MovieFest was kind of carrying the argument for you two.
I gave Tristan a 7. Thought he made some great points, including the directorial thing. Yeah.
Oh, that too.
Okay, well, I like being the nice guy and having sequential order. I gave Tristan an 8 because I did love that he was able to find the directorial thing for Chris Evans. Very nice. All right, UK, let's start. Go back to Tyler. What do you got for UK?
I gave MovieFest UK an 8. You were definitely holding your ground for Chris Evans.
The same score as well?
Yeah, and reasoning's pretty similar. He backed up Chris Evans really well.
Well, as an accountant, I love this because I'm giving an 8 as well. So he gets 3 8s right out the bat. I did like that he came out right away with the range, comedic, serious, the gifted. Unyolo, big one on campus here. Tyler, what are you giving him?
I also gave Unyolo an 8. Obviously, Unyolo's come out to play. He, like MovieFest, he stuck his guns with Chris Hemsworth.
I gave Unyolo a 7. I thought, how are you going to pick Chris Hemsworth over Evans? And he actually made some really good points, but I think he was an 8, but then I thought about it and it went down to a 7 because he said how Thor became this really funny guy, and I think that's largely down to Taika Waititi instead of Hemsworth.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Point.
Well, I gave Unyolo a 9 on this one because he did bring up great points. But he did
boy, I like how this goes. All right, just call it goodbye.
But I like that he defended his points as well. When Tristan came at Chris Hemsworth for his depression portrayal in the Endgame, Unyolo was able to defend it. Tyler, what do you got for Alex?
I gave Alex a 7. Yeah, and kind of like Tristan, Unyolo was kind of carrying the argument for Hemsworth, though.
I gave Alex a 9, largely because of how much he talked up Rush and James Hunt. He raced for McLaren.
Oh yeah.
So, and then bad times at the El Royale, and
And Luke's not biased at all. Hey, whipping those Mercedes, I fucked him good then.
I gave Alex an 8 out of 10. I did love the bad times at the Oriole, but he did poke a hole in their theory, or not their theory, their argument of Chris Evans in range.
I actually preferred Alex's argument over Big J's.
Yeah,
first time. I actually think he did really well there. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
Wait, now this is all making sense now, you know.
All right, for round 1 of the books, this will become a mini series or a Zack Snyder Justice League length episode here at this rate, but a second question is coming, and this one is just as good. Which highly anticipated 2020 release will not live up to the hype?
Interesting question.
see if they actually get released.
So I went from an Oscars perspective, and I did Don't Look Up.
Matrix 4.
He has the Matrix 4, the anticipated or maybe not anticipated sequel. But
is that coming out? Is that coming out in 2021?
Officially it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be December. I think 16th December.
Yeah, it's like a
15th.
Christmas release.
James Bond, No Time to Die.
I haven't gotten to the movies yet, so
Because I also picked Matrix 4.
Matrix 4.
Okay.
All right.
There are 2 areas where the hype for the Matrix 4 is coming from. One is the first Matrix, like not the very first Matrix, which was made over 20 years ago. And number 2 is Keanu Reeves. And Keanu Reeves, I mean, God bless him. God bless him. He's amazing. But it doesn't mean that every Keanu Reeves movie is going to be a hit. I mean, look at that movie Replicants that came out 2 years ago. Yeah, no, sir. But, I mean, a lot of the hype for Matrix 4 is coming from Keanu Reeves. And obviously for a franchise that is now basically the sequels, in my opinion, have basically kind of confirmed that it should be dead and should be buried, not touched, because the sequel's just so garbage. So there are good moments in the second one, but the third one really kind of ruined it for me. And again, we're talking about a movie that was so revolutionary that happened over 20 years ago, and so much time has passed. And a lot of the stuff in the original Matrix has been done since then. So I'm not sure what they can capitalize off of in the fourth one.
For me, it comes with like when you're casting like Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves at 50 plus years fucking old to do what and all this fucking shit. I just can't see Keanu Reeves. Bless him, yeah. I do love him. He's a great action hero. He doesn't age a fucking day. He still looks like he's 15, but he's not a great actor. I'm not gonna lie. And if you're telling me now Keanu Reeves is a great fucking actor, you're lying. It's outdated now. I don't know why they left it so long. Like, why leave it 20 years for whatever reason? I do not understand, because the story, when they told it originally, it was fucking groundbreaking. Everything about the first Matrix was just groundbreaking, from its CGI to its action set pieces. It was just incredible. And now to try and replicate what they did all that time ago, I just think is absolutely fucking bonkers, mate.
Hugo Weaving, who's such a big part of the original trilogy, especially the first one, is not coming back for Matrix 4. And he's like one of the best movie villains of all time, and he's not returning.
Everyone wants to see it, but everyone is expecting it to be crap, because the second one was not good. The second one wasn't good. The third one was even worse. It's been so long, and everyone wants to see it because it is the Matrix, but there is not one person that is saying, oh my God, this is gonna revolutionize like the original did. My problem with James Bond is it's been in production for so long. It's just been growing and growing the hype. It's a movie that's 163 minutes. It's gonna be like gigantic, and people like it's not gonna live up to it. And the other thing is like the director, Cary Joji, oh my God, fucking I don't know. Like, the thing is, he doesn't have any track record on doing a big action movie. And the thing that people are expecting from James Bond is exactly that. People are expecting it to be an amazing action movie. We talk about Daniel Craig, that has to do the action, make it look believable. At the age that he is now, it's very hard to do that.
Yeah, just to jump off before I get into mine, to jump off on YOLO. I had no idea Matrix 4 was coming out this year. I thought it was 2022. And that's because there's just like no hype surrounding it. I mean, maybe from people who really, really love the original, but as Alex said, the Wachowskis have had a terrible track record. They're considered terrible directors. Yeah. There's as much hype surrounding this movie as like the next Tim Burton movie.
Go on websites. It's up there in websites for 2021 releases. Most anticipated, Matrix is in there. Do you know what I mean?
It's a lot more than Don't Look Up. It's a lot more than Don't Look Up. Don't compare it's a lot more than Don't Look Up, so don't even.
Second of all, I've also got quite not a massive reach on my Instagram, but a decent amount, and I've done polls about Matrix 4, and I've had a lot, easily few hundreds, close to 1,000 over the few polls I've done, saying they are really hyped for Matrix 4.
But what I'll say about Don't Look Up is that maybe from like a blockbuster standpoint, from like the masses, it doesn't have as much hype surrounding it. But I'm very much in the Oscar scene, and like in terms of Oscars, this is making everyone's list for Best Picture predictions. Everyone is predicting this, and that's because you've got Adam McKay, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio in his first role after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. You have Timothy Chalamet, Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence in her first performance in a long time. Film Twitter is hyping this thing up like crazy. What I'll say quickly about No Time to Die is that you can say the same thing, because you said Cary Fukunaga hasn't had really any experience when it comes to action. You could say the same thing about Sam Mendes before he did Skyfall. He had Road to Perdition, but that's not really an action movie. And then Cary Fukunaga was also kind of involved in It, which is a franchise film, which is a big blockbuster. You could see him take that experience and apply it to No Time to Die. And he's going to really get the characters down really well, too.
Yeah, but if
and
you
then
look...
also you have Maniac and True Detective. And I also want to say one thing. You were complaining about Daniel Craig being too old at 53. Tom Cruise is 58, and you're not complaining about him the Mission Impossible movies. So don't come at me with this age.
Look,
you can't do that. And then I'm not done. And then also the Matrix movie. The third one made $741 million, which is over $300 million more than the first two. So clearly, there were more people who loved The Matrix even after the two terrible sequels than after the first one came out.
Look, 100%. Look how popular The Matrix is.
Especially for people who grew up in the 90s.
It is one of the most hyped about films across casual moviegoers. Like my mum, for example, my nan, like people like this, they know about The Matrix. They're even fucking talking to me. My mum was like, Matrix 4 comes out this year, doesn't it? So I'm looking forward to that, seeing Keanu back in that again.
Look,
you're right, mum.
If you're talking about the box office, let's look at Transformers. Like the second one did more money than the first. The third one did more money, and then he got to a point it just went down.
But then Transformers didn't start off with Matrix 1, did they?
Let me finish. Then it just went downhill until he made no money. Okay, so that's the thing. You're saying, oh, he did more money, but people just really trashed the movie. So now when are you trying
to compare Transformers 1 to Matrix 1?
When the fourth comes out,
I'm not sure that's a fair comparison, but okay.
Okay, we're talking about box office. You talked about box office and they made more money. The movie made more money. The critics and people completely bash it. So when a fourth comes out, and this is like a fourth, like let's compare it with Avatar, it's going to come out so much time after, people are just going to be disappointed.
Keanu right now is a hot commodity, and people are really excited about John Wick, the new John Wick movie. So it's kind of, I think that's kind of fueling any hype surrounding The Matrix. I don't think anyone's really excited.
I mean, people are excited enough for Keanu in order to. I feel like that says a lot about our point, because we also illustrated the fact that people are seeing this movie for Keanu, and for good reason. To address your point with Don't Look Up, even people in Oscar circles, like nobody's expecting, like it might be a movie that gets nominated for a lot, but what Oscar are people really expecting it to? Are people really expecting? Oh, Leo, second Oscar here, Meryl Streep? No. Nobody's expecting that.
Timothy.
And the thing is, being a Netflix.
People are talking about Timothy Chalamet and Dune. Nobody's talking about him in Don't Look Up because the cat. So don't come at me with Timothy Chalamet.
I don't really hear it.
And the other thing is a Netflix movie, and even if we don't want to, that Netflix brand is not going to be something that people straight away think, oh, it's going to win all the Oscars easily.
All right, judges, make your picks. I don't even know how to remember everything.
Ariana Grande could go for Best Supporting Actress. But...
Yeah. All right. Let's start with Tristan this time again.
Yours is your argument's kind of hard to study, me personally. Just because there's been some hype around Don't Look Up, but not like a ton. But I'll give you some credit for that. So I'm giving you a 5.
I was leaning towards a 5, but I'm gonna give him a 6 because
I
don't know how reliable that Oscar thing is. Even if it's not, it was quite interesting to hear how there's hype about it.
I didn't know either.
And the cast is just so stacked.
My sources say.
But, yeah, I'm giving him a 6.
He said film Twitter. It wasn't.
I was like, he runs his own communities out on Twitter.
Yeah, I've seen articles about that. People think this is going to be big, and I agreed with them, and I like your initial points. You did get attacked there at the end, and I don't know about the defense, but you are right. He is right and correct. You can't go after him for saying he's incorrect because he is right. I gave him a 7 out of that on that one. I mean, film Twitter is a weird term, but it's correct. It's correct. There are people who say that. He's correct. There are people that are not like the top bubble.
Then again, there are people talking about film Instagram. So I mean,
I didn't say like film Instagram. No, I said my community on Instagram. That's completely different.
So they're like different from film, like Instagram in general.
He said his mom and his man. He said his mom and his man.
I also said that as well. No, I said them as casual moviegoers. Yeah. Don't start twisting what I said. I said as casual moviegoers. A lot of people in my family actually know about Matrix 4. Exactly. My mum, she's like 45. She's coming to me at 45 like, Connor, I'm fucking well buzzing for Matrix 4.
I'll tell you what, MovieFest is really surprising me today. So he's really holding his ground with his arguments, but I'll give you a 7. But keep it up. You're on a roll so far, MovieFest.
Right.
I've given him a 4 because
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa.
there's maybe like 3 people hyped for the Matrix 4. Like,
that's not
no,
good for
no,
me.
no one knows it's coming out. And
Oh, yeah.
your main argument was that Keanu is old. The
All right.
emphasis was on the Keanu old.
I also didn't say anything about him being old, so let me just clear that up.
He is putting it
Oh
forward.
my
No ages in
God.
here.
Wow.
Fucking hell, I said about
I
everything.
gotta-
I said about
I gotta
everything,
cut
but
time.
all he heard was fucking
My
Keanu's
God.
old.
My God, Alex escaping the boats while it's going on.
So, all right, I gave MovieFest UK a 7 on that argument. He is in the bad position of Alex taking some of the good points, but that's how you play the game. 7, 7, and 4. There you go. It was
Now I
surprising.
know why he doesn't. Now I still know why he doesn't follow me on Instagram. It all makes sense now, look, mate.
Oh.
Well, I don't.
All right,
Kidding,
should
I'm
change
here.
Tyler, what do you got for Unyolo?
All right, I gave Unyolo a 6. Right out of the gate, picking No Time to Die was obviously a big no-no in my books.
I give Unyolo a 7 because he said that Bond has been delayed like 9 times. The inexperienced director. We'll see how that is.
I gave Unyolo a 7 as well.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm giving Alex a 9 for
Whoa.
that argument.
Wow.
I forgot to mention with MovieFest that I think Alex did carry the argument for that.
MVP for Tyler this round is Alex. Luke, what do you got?
I gave Alex a 6 because he made all the right arguments, but he still chose the Matrix 4.
At least I didn't mention film Twitter.
There you go. All right. Well, Alex, you were also my MVP for this run. You got an 8 on. For me, I did like that you talked about the first Matrix only is what people like, and the Keanu hype. Those are what's fueling Matrix 4. The sequel sucks. There's a lot of distance. So after 2 rounds, your leader is Alex with 47 total points. Trailing behind him is Unyolo with 44 points. UK is at 42 points, and Tristan is at 39 points.
How dare you all? How dare you? Disrespecting me.
Which director, quote, past their prime needs to stop working?
Ugh.
And we have a minute for this? Oh,
You
man.
have a minute
Yeah.
for whatever I asked.
I went with Roman Polanski.
Oh.
Arguing against that.
That is so smart.
That is a good. I mean, see, that is
I
the
can't
one way to
argue
do it. That's the way to
against
take the
that.
question. He is Tim Burton.
Burton.
Okay, that was one of those I thought
Ooh.
people were gonna say too. All right, good one. Unyolo.
That was my first one, and then I scratch it because it's Woody Allen.
What do you
Yeah,
have?
see, that was my first one. That was my first one. But then I was like, fuck, I can't be asked for Alex today. I was like, I can't be asked for Alex to
Alright.
be recorded.
It's Woody Allen as
Oh,
well.
Oh, shit.
Whoa.
I
Wait,
know,
hold up.
he's
Alex,
right there.
isn't Woody Allen like your favorite director?
Oh
Okay,
my
all right,
God.
okay.
I
Hunter,
was-
any chance we can start with Alex? I really want to hear what he has to say.
I was gonna when I picked this one, I was like, Alex is gonna lose.
You were
his
coming for me because
shit.
I'm
Well,
leaving. I knew you were going to come
okay.
for me.
No,
I
I,
will
thought
just
you were
say-
gonna lose
I know,
your
I know.
shit. So the thing with Woody Allen is that he just has a very specific style that doesn't fit the day of today. He just I just saw the trailer. I said to Alex the other day, I saw the trailer of his new movie, and it could have been done 20 years ago, and it's exactly the same. Actors don't want to work with him because, and I'm not gonna go here because Tristan has Roman Polanski, so he can go in that.
He's already covered that base.
I'm not gonna win on that coin because if mine is bad, well, just hold my beer, right, Tristan? People just don't want to see his movies for many, many reasons, and one of them is it's always the same, always the same.
So, yeah, I know it's a huge surprise I picked Woody Allen, but as a mega fan of Woody Allen and his movies, even I'd have to say he should stop, especially because his recent films, he doesn't have exactly the best track record recently, like A Rainy Day in New York, like Selena Gomez and Timothée Chalamet, really, and Elle Fanning. I'm not sure that's a formula for a great rom-com, especially when you look at some of his other films like Annie Hall, Hannah and Her Sisters. Like, these are some of the best rom-coms ever made, and they were revolutionary at the time. But now we're in a time where rom-coms are looked down upon and the formula for rom-coms are so bad. Yeah, he should definitely stop, especially because he's way past his prime. And also, I think Woody Allen is a much better actor than he's given credit for. and I think his acting is absolutely phenomenal. And the character that he plays, I know Unyolo was complaining about it, but I think his acting is phenomenal. And especially Hannah and Her Sisters, Manhattan, and Annie Hall, and Broadway Danny Rose as well. So I mean, and the fact he can't really act anymore because of obviously the personal stuff, and then he's also really old, so he doesn't act anymore. So I think that really hinders his films.
Tim Burton, he's so much the same. Every film you see, it is the same. It is always outcast of society. There's always castles. There's always mansions. There's always the dark color palette. There's always the freaky kind of aesthetic to it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just not a fan. And he doesn't really do anything to get with the times. Do you know what I mean? It's like his last film, Peregrine? Well, that was his last film, wasn't it? Peregrine's fucking Peculiar Children or some shit.
Dumbo.
Yeah, it was Dumbo.
Dumbo,
there you go. That's even fucking worse, man. And he tries to apply his weird ass motherfucking traits to Dumbo. It's just getting old and repetitive. You're like, come on, do something different. I want to see something serious from him. Do you know what I mean? Like a dead-on serious kind of drama, but I doubt he will. And it's just, it's always basic.
Tristan, what do you got to say for Roman Polanski?
Where do I even start? Like,
well, that's true.
I don't even know, man. I'm not going to get too into the politics because this is a movie debate, right? But I mean, no one wants to work with him anymore. No one wants to work with him. And back in the day, Roman Polanski, he was a great director, but he's a terrible human being, and no one the thing is, this guy keeps pumping out movies all the time. If you look at Venice, they don't play in the States, but if you look at like Europe, Venice and Cannes, he's always premiering movies there, and people go and see them, and they always get terrible reviews. The last great movie he made was The Pianist, and then after that, what's he been doing? I don't know.
You know what he's been doing.
What I'll say about Tim Burton is if he collaborates with Henry Selick, Burton comes up with the script, comes up with the characters, and co-directs it with Henry Selick, I think the two of them could make something really great.
I think you can't just co-direct with someone and co-write with someone and be like, and bounce off of their shit. Do you know what I mean? Be like, oh, look, I just made this amazing film that I made with someone else. Do you know what I mean? That completely defeats the whole object of it. Do you know what I mean? And if he was going to do it, he would have done it by now, and I don't think he has.
My thing with Tim Burton is he has Beetlejuice 2 coming out, and the thing is, I still find his movies at least visually interesting.
What we were saying about with the Wachowskis and Matrix 4, it's literally like these directors are thinking in their heads, my career has come into an end, I've got to fucking do something big. Beetlejuice was one of my best fucking films. I'm going to make number 2 now.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? All this time later, I'm going to make it now. And what I was going to say quickly, when you were saying about the visuals, I think it's not just his visuals. All of the stories are the same. They all revolve around some sort of socially distant or recluse or someone that's mentally kind of twisted in some sort of way. Everything is always the same story, the same aesthetics. It's not just the same aesthetics. It is everything.
I agree with MovieFest wholeheartedly on this one. I mean, when you look at Tim Burton's, not just last 10 years, but last 20 years, they have been actually horrific, especially when you look at his late 80s, early 90s work. These are some films that are straight, great, like Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, Batman, Ed Wood, which is amazing. It's my favorite of his personally, and Batman Returns. None of his movies, none of them. He made Mars Attacks in 96. And after Mars Attacks, his career just went. His movies, for the last 20 years.
Exactly. And the fact he's still doing the same shit.
How good Tim Burton was in the 90s.
That's what I mean. That is exactly my point.
But not anymore. He's just hurting his own reputation. When Tim Burton comes up, there's such a negative connotation behind his name. I'm not sure because of the last.
And the first thing everyone always says. First thing everyone always says when you talk about Tim Burton, the same thing. It's going to be the same thing you've already seen, just a slightly bit different.
Done the visual. The visuals have already been done. Like Unyolo said, the visuals.
This is what I mean. It's what I mean.
Tim Burton visuals. We're done with Tim Burton visuals.
Exactly.
Movies like Big Fish. Movies like Big Fish in 2003.
2003.
18
years ago.
Whoa. You
18 years ago.
I'm giving you one example because you said in the 90s and that was it. I'm saying 2003 when everyone already said that he couldn't do any great movies. He did Big Fish, and it's an amazing
58%
movie.
on Metacritic,
And
75% Rotten. Big Fish isn't it's not even close to his 90s work.
Do you agree? Do you agree it's a good movie or not? I'm not talking
No,
like.
I haven't seen Big Fish, but I'm
so
just
fine. So, but the thing is, I don't care what Metacritic says. It is a great movie, and Big Eyes is also a big,
2014.
But
a great
compared to
movie.
his older work, nobody talks about Big Fish.
Sure, but Big Eyes is
Martin
actually really
Scorsese.
critically acclaimed. People like it.
Everyone's just coming at me, and I'm defending you fuckers. I'm bopping and weaving. Come
I'm
on.
just saying.
Wait, Alex is
Come on.
just
Wait,
like
what's it?
6
It has 62 on Metacritic, 72
Yeah.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Look,
Big Eyes
Alex,
is not a
I just want to
At the
say,
end of the day,
I just
at the
want
end
to say
of the day,
one thing.
I also
Watch here,
think-
but it's okay.
I just want to say one thing. Just to point out that Alex completely got behind Tim Burton and forgot that he picked Woody Allen.
No. Adding to the conversation.
I would like to point out.
Just remember that. Just remember that.
I'd like to point
Just
out.
remember
that. You're good.
I
You're good,
think,
my
not
friend.
being
You're good, my
funny,
friend.
Tyler, what do you got for Tristan here? We're gonna keep going left to right.
I guess you're sitting another 6 for this one.
You guys are mean.
You're really trying to hold your ground here. Just
Sounds
I'm
like
sorry.
you're gonna break up with him.
Yeah, you gotta lay him down gently.
It's not you. It's me.
I'm trying not to come off as too mean to Tristan because he's a great guy.
I've given Tristan 8 because I like the choice. I think it's quite creative.
I gave
He's solid.
Tristan a 9.
Yeah, let's go.
Ingenuity of answer, but also defensive answer. He did bring up Polanski has been in a downward spiral, even if he gets acclaimed.
Oh man, MovieFest is my MVP this round. I gave him a 9.
Ooh.
He did hit all the right points, and like he basically talks about what I like to call the Tim Burton sauce.
I gave MovieFest a 10 because
Wow.
everything he said was exactly spot on. He put
You're welcome, MovieFest.
his sauce on everything.
Wow.
It's annoying, and he got Alex to passionately agree with him, which is which is quite the achievement.
Gave him a 7 on that one because he did give the correct points. Tim Burton has become a parody of himself at this point.
Okay, I gave Unyolo a 7 for this round.
I gave him an 8 because he made all the points that I haven't seen any Woody Allen movies, but I can imagine that he's right about them the style being outdated.
Well, I agree with that. I gave him a 7 on this round because of the dime a dozen argument he brought up. That if you watch one Woody Allen movie, you've pretty much seen them all.
So, like I said, I think Alex really carried that round. And honestly, right off the bat, when he said Woody Allen was his pick, I was immediately invested and really wanted to hear what he had to say. So that's why I want to hear him first. So originally, I gave Alex an 8, but because he chose Woody Allen, his most favorite director of all time, I'm giving him a 9.
I gave Alex an 8 because he made most of the same points that Unyolo did. It's not wrong.
I gave Alex a 7 for the same argument as Luke. It was because Unyolo went first, so Alex had some of the same arguments. So after 3 rounds, Alex has 71 points. Right behind him is UK at 68 points. Unyolo has 66 points. And then Tristan has 62 points. What is the worst movie of the Disney Star Wars series? So all the Disney Star Wars movies. Not just the episode. Rogue One Solo Story is in there as well.
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Okay, we've got a pattern going. 2 for 2.
I don't even think I've seen Rise of Skywalker.
Solo, okay.
I don't even think I've seen Rise of Skywalker. I'll just have to go with Solo. I guess I've seen that one. I fucking think so anyway.
Okay. Well, I mean,
The Rise of Skywalker, it's terrible. Very safe. It falls into every single trope that you expect it to. It's I'll mention is Rey and Ben Solo. Like that, I don't know why they did that. That was such a bizarre twist. Someone else can take over.
okay.
Yeah, so I have the same movie, so it just shows how Disney is scared of their fans and just trying to like change everything. And what they did was they did like a hand move, like a movie in the end that has no logic to everything that was done. It looks like 3 movies made by 3 people that had no idea. They completely ruined what they did with Poe. Like all the characters just completely feel like there's no point. That we were 3 movies watching this and there was no point.
In Solo, they kind of went over all of that old stuff again. Do you know what I mean? It's like they re-showed you him first meeting Chewbacca, and like the fucking all of his old bullshit that's already been made by fans and loved by fans. Do you know what I mean? All of this has already been built. This lore had already been put there for everyone, and then they were just paying lip service to all of the shit. So it was basically Solo's just like going over everything that's already been done and everything fans already know.
Solo has the same amount of fan service, and it's actually worse in places. I would actually argue that Solo is less creatively like interesting than Rise of Skywalker is. Solo, I mean, visually, oh my god, it's the entire color palette is very orange and brown. It's not exactly with Rise of Skywalker. There are certain shots in that movie, certain pieces of the production design that were actually very well built. Like when you have Rey and Kylo's fight in like that white hallway place, that was actually very beautiful to look at. Their fight on the the Death Star piece in the ocean, that was great to look at as well. You had Kylo went like the first scene of him where he's on that Sith planet and he's like killing those aliens who are guarding the whatever, I don't know the name of it. Excuse me for my vagueness, but
that was
visually,
Star Wars fan.
Star Wars fan.
Visually, those were very interesting scenes. Solo, and that's enough to give it the edge over Solo. Solo also has fan service. I mean, that Darth Maul scene.
Look,
so much worse. Fan service is terrible.
Solo's kind of good.
The thing is, you're talking about a prequel, and on a prequel, you kind of expect to know more about what happened. So it is fan service.
Yeah, but they don't really give you anything extra. They don't give you anything extra. It's all the same.
I actually really enjoyed it. I liked Solo.
Well, that's exactly why. That's exactly why you liked it more, because you had. Wait, no. I started that thing first. So yeah, that's exactly like. It's someone that hasn't seen already. Like I've seen the older stuff and haven't really seen the newer stuff. And the thing is, like I'm saying, is you see all of the old stuff and everything it shows you and teaches you about Han Solo, and then you watch Solo, and it is literally all of the stuff that you've learned about in his past, through all of his little journeys, and it's all just basically compiled together. So it's like, you meet Chewbacca for the first time. It's like the first time where he gets his fucking famous gun. It's like, look, everything was just made. And it was like, it's already been told, man. And the thing is, the fans though, they're treating them like they're dumb. It's like, you're trying to tell me that we don't know what Han Solo's come from, his background. We fucking love this character. We've grown to love him over God knows how many years.
We never saw how we met Lando. We never saw how we met Chewbacca. We never saw any of them.
Just because they go back and do that, just because they go back and do that doesn't mean they're doing a good way. Remember when they showed us how Han Solo got his name? Remember when they showed us when Han Solo got his name? Remember
I appreciate him being a bit of a mystery. Do you know what I mean? He was a bit of an enigma. He was an enigma in a way, and I appreciate that. Like he was a kind of hidden character. So.
Amelia Clark's actually
I just want to say one thing. Let me just finish.
She's a good actress.
Wait a second.
I think this is Tristan's best round.
What?
Yes, I think this is Tristan's best round. I think you definitely carried the argument for Rise of Skywalker. So with that, Tristan, I'm giving you an 8 for this one. You definitely you hit the marks. You hit every single mark Rise of Skywalker. But yeah,
I would have given myself a 0. But
very nice. Said like 2 things.
This is just weird.
All right, Luke, what are you giving Tristan?
I gave Tristan a 6 because he's made good points. I don't think he made enough though.
All right, I gave Tristan a 7, so he did much better than he wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally I think MovieFest's argument was a little all over the place for this round. I'm giving MovieFest a 6.
MovieFest UK an 8. I thought that was very impressive how much he had to say, given that he's not really a Star Wars fan.
There you go. I gave MovieFest UK a 7 for this round. He did call Solo a retread on this.
I gave Unyolo a 6.
I gave Unyolo a 9 because he said exactly everything that's wrong with the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, and then I gave Unyolo an 8 on this round.
I gave Alex an 8 for this one.
I gave Alex a 5.
5.
He put so much emphasis on the visuals, and I'm like, it's a Star Wars movie. Of course, the visuals are gonna be good.
All right, Alex, I gave a 7 on this round. So heading into the final round here, Alex, you are still leading.
I've dropped to bottom now.
He is at 91 points total for Alex. Unyolo and UK are tied in second place, only 2 points back at 89 points. It's close.
I thought that screwed me there. Fuck me, I was hanging on by the thread.
come
Tristan
on.
Tristan is
Bring it
still
home.
in the race. If everyone else just flounders and he does well, which could happen, he's at 83 points.
Okay.
What is the best genre of comedy?
Ooh.
All right. So I went with dark comedy.
Dark humor, especially British. Wow.
Okay.
Home,
Alright.
home, dark comedy.
What the hell? Oh my god!
Well,
wow,
if
you
you-
really don't want me to win, guys.
If you pick the same thing, I'm out of questions.
Still good.
No, I have a winner.
Satire.
I'm a massive fan of dark British humour, most specifically because it's just so dry and cutting. Like, no matter what you can watch, like whether it's In Bruges, Four Lions, Seven Psychopaths, Sightseers, and then you've even got stuff like Hot Fuzz. Then you've got like also other independent kind of dark humour films where directed by Richard Ayoade, like Submarine. Then you've got Lock, Stock, Guy Pearce, Snatch, all of these dark humour films where it just hits the spot. When you're watching it, even when you're not expecting a laugh, you'll be urged to laugh at some point. You've got other people that can make dark humour actually really fucking flamboyant and funny, like Taika Waititi. Do you know what I mean? He can turn dark subjects into something so funny. Like, have you Jojo Rabbit? Like, the amount of times when you're laughing through that and you're then reminded 5 minutes later, shit, this is fucking deep.
And the thing is, dark comedy is the only genre that allows you to pick really like subjects that are not easy to talk about. Like if you look at movies like Inglourious Bastards, and what they're talking about, and like the kind of violence that they need to talk about because the subject requires it. Only that kind of comedy allows you to do it, because it makes people a little bit more comfortable to go inside a movie to watch it, and they are learning at the same time. And I think that's like the magic with dark comedy, is that it allows people to be a little bit more comfortable when they're talking about subjects that are really, really tough to go about. And the Coen brothers are like masters at that. For example, like the way they do it, the way they build these characters, funny characters that might seem ridiculous, but then you start like knowing more and more of them, and you start relating, and you start seeing things of your life with it.
Because sometimes with some of this, some of like dark material, it can make audiences really uncomfortable, and it's sometimes good to throw a laugh in there. And I really like that balance. It's gutsy, and I think when done right, it can be really incredible. And when you look at like, for me, I'm a big Oscar guy, and when you look at some of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture, you don't see a lot of straight comedies in there, but you do see a lot of dark comedies. You see a lot of Coen Brothers stuff. Birdman, which came out in 2014, that's a really good one that mixes. It's a very dark movie, but it's got some really great humor in there, and you've got Michael Keaton delivering one of his best performances, being John Malkovich. That is such a zany, weird movie about humanity and finding yourself, and he explores that like really deep and psychological territory through this zany, very comedic sensibility. So I think a lot of the best directors working today do operate within that realm and do kind of like walk the line between comedy and drama in a really interesting way.
So this is a difficult one because dark comedy and satire often go hand in hand. My only thing will be a lot of films or TV with dark comedy are at heart satires, not at heart dark comedy. So a lot of the films you mentioned, like Jojo Rabbit, at heart that film is a satire. Dark comedy is just an element of the satire. Satires can be extremely unique. Like Cabin in the Woods is maybe the most unique horror movie that's come out over the last 10, 15 years. Like that film is extremely unique. In the comedy, it is satire of the entire horror genre. And because of the fact, I think satires are so they're so potent and so I think impactful. I think that's because sometimes we're just so oversaturated with certain things in film and TV that, a satire is very refreshing. So Cabin in the Woods was so refreshing after decades and decades of slasher movies like, the Friday the 13th of the world and the Halloweens of the world.
I think you hit the nail on the head on that. The problem with satires is exactly that. There's satires of all kinds. You talked about a lot of horror movies like Get Out. It's not a comedy, it's a satire. And that's the thing. Satire can be in any kind of movie, not just a comedy. And you said before, dark comedy goes hand in hand with satire, because that's it. When you talk about comedy, you're talking about like dark comedies because it goes into this like serious subjects, and the satires are I would argue with you that satires is the element how they approach it, but the way they go into the comedy is more of a dark comedy than a satire, because satire is just like kind of saying something about the world you live in a different way and just making a point. MovieFest, like the problem you said, like British comedies. And that's the thing. Like I love dark British comedies.
Yeah, and what I'm on about is stuff like Martin McDonagh in Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, and then you've also got Three Billboards.
Okay,
so yeah, don't even come at me trying to say they're not dark comedies.
No, not at all. What I'm saying is when you say dark comedies, but then you specify in British, like I like British comedies, but British comedies go over the head of a lot of people because of exactly how you said it. They're very like cold in a certain way.
See, for me, being specific.
Isn't Jojo Rabbit? Wait, do you?
No. Yeah, I highlighted Jojo Rabbit, but not being British. Obviously, I was just saying, is in the dark humor that's used throughout it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
But if you're specifying with British dark humor, why do you even mention Jojo Rabbit? I'm very confused.
Well, no, I was just mentioning another film, like to compare the kind of levels of humor. Do you know what I mean? Because you have something that's so American, it's so American and so foreign, like Jojo Rabbit, compared to something so British and so dark, like Three Billboards. Or
that's counterintuitive to your point. It shows how non-British dark comedies can be better than British. That doesn't make any sense.
British. Also, you're always attacking me. If you notice, every round you're always coming at me. All three of you guys. Like,
even though
I haven't attacked any of you guys.
You got 30 seconds.
Let Tristan talk. Look, the thing is, we're not attacking you. It's your argument.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, that's the thing. I made a perfect argument. Dark British humor, mate. When you compare the script with the actors, and the comedy, like it's just you can't beat it.
Quick point against MovieFest, even though Martin McDonagh is American. Is British. Three Billboards is a very American movie. It's covering very American territory.
Yes, but it's down to his writing, though. It's his writing. It is dark British humor. He's not just going to sit there and be like, right, I'm a British guy and I'm all this. I'm just going to fucking do all this American humor. Do you know what I mean? It's not American humor.
You narrowed it down way too much.
It's technically objectively wrong.
And let's get on with it.
Win or lose, you guys underestimated me no matter what.
You have done well.
I gave Tristan an 8.
I gave Tristan an 8.
All right, I am sticking with tradition here. I'm going with an 8 for Tristan as well.
I gave MovieFest an 8. There's something about British humor that's very, very likable, and MovieFest hit the points spot on with all of it.
It was at a solid 9, but then the attacks came in and the defense could have been a bit better.
2 8s, and I'm giving him a 7 on this one. Just kind of for the main reasons. You did win on the evidence points because you had like 20,000 pieces of evidence, which is great. And laughing at pain, I like that.
I give Unyolo an 8. I think like his argument was fine. But then like when we started going after Alex in MovieFest, I think that's what saved him.
I've given Unyolo an 8. He said how using comedy to make a dark situation more comfortable. I think that was good.
Okay, I am also going with an 8 for Unyolo. I did like about allowing creativity in Glorious Bastards, but it puts comedy outside the bounds of normal conversation.
What I've been waiting for.
Yes, you're lucky you're on the very right of the screen, and I like going left to right.
So it's 113 to 91?
You need 22.
I think what you tried to do with satire it was a good approach, but I think it was almost there, but not quite. I think to what you got it, but it was still fine. But I'm giving you a 7.
I'm giving you a 7 as well. You mentioned how satire movies are quite unique. They can approach different subjects, but then you went off the rails a bit, started going on about horror movies. And
I wrote this before this, so don't even come at me for saying I changed it. You had a good point about satire being the main portion for movies, so dark humor really starts at satire, then goes to dark humor. That was a great point. Get Out, uniqueness. The attacks were good, and then the good rebuttals. It was pretty good, but not the greatest. I gave you a 7 as well.
He's out.
And your winner for this at 113 points, it is Unyolo Big J. What are you gonna say?
Oh God, I'm just happy to beat Alex like this.
Oh my God.
Look, I don't even care about winning anymore, but just seeing Alex losing like this is making me laugh so much.
Wait, how many points was it?
It
One
was
point. You
it
lost
was
by
1
1 point.
It was a contest of champions, and you all performed like champions and all stayed together. Nobody was ever leading by more than I think like 3 points ever.
I did all I could. I was up all 4 rounds, like literally, like I was winning every single round, and I lost by 1 point. I don't know what else I can do. I mean, I have trivia, so of that.
Wow, that was an end to not the end of season 1. We're getting really close, part of the MovieMania series. It was very fitting for the final event of the season to be the most tension-filled, suspense, craziness. So that'll do it for this one. We're all tired. It's way later in some countries than others, so we're gonna end it here. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button to get more movie-related content right here at the League of Cinephiles. Have fun watching this video. Ciao.